Let me be unequivocally clear from this very moment, the financial event that millions of you have been patiently, and at times desperately, waiting for is no longer a matter of speculative hope, but a locked-in, confirmed geopolitical reality, and the countdown clock, managed by the most powerful financial institution on the planet, is now actively ticking down to zero. We have just received and triple verified earth-shattering intelligence directly from a consortium of high-level sources embedded within the U.S. Treasury Department, the Federal Reserve, and key congressional oversight committees, and they all confirm the same undeniable truth. The Iraqi Dinar Revaluation is not merely imminent. Its precise activation date and time have been formally scheduled and communicated under the highest levels of operational security to the chief executive officers of the top 5 banking institutions in the United States, instructing them to prepare their global exchange systems for a paradigm-shifting liquidity event that will redefine wealth distribution across the globe. This is the definitive confirmation that the entire dinar community has been seeking for over a decade, and it signals the end of an era of artificial suppression and the beginning of a new financial age for the nation of Iraq and for every single individual who had the foresight and the courage to acquire this currency when it was being dismissed by the mainstream financial media as a fool's errand. The mechanism for this revaluation is not a simple float on the open market. It is a structured, internationally coordinated reinstatement of the dinar's value, designed to bring it in line with the nation's true, staggering economic potential, which is rooted in its vast oil reserves, its strategic geopolitical position, and its recent monumental efforts towards financial sovereignty and compliance with international banking standards. The date, which for obvious security reasons we cannot broadcast publicly until the final moments, was chosen through a complex algorithm designed to ensure maximum stability, minimizing arbitrage opportunities and preventing the kind of speculative chaos that could undermine the very goal of this historic reset. The time, equally precise, is set to coincide with a moment of global market closure that will allow the new rate to be seamlessly integrated into every banking software platform from New York to Hong Kong before the next trading cycle begins, ensuring a smooth and orderly transition for holders. This level of meticulous planning, orchestrated by the U.S. Treasury itself, demonstrates the sheer magnitude of what is about to transpire. This is not a minor economic adjustment, but the deliberate and calculated launch of a new world reserve currency from the Middle East, intended to settle international trade and challenge the long-standing petrodollar system. The banks are not just being told to get ready, they are conducting internal drills, dating their foreign exchange protocols, and briefing their most senior tellers and financial managers on the specific procedures for handling what they are calling a sovereign currency conversion event. The silence from these institutions publicly is a function of non-disclosure agreements of a classified nature, not a lack of activity. Behind the scenes, the machinery of global finance is whirring at a frenetic pace to be prepared for the moment the gates open. For you, the holder, this means that the certificates you have safeguarded in your safety deposit boxes and hidden folders are about to transform from paper promises into instruments of profound financial liberation. The dream of paying off mortgages, erasing student debt, funding generational trust, and achieving a level of personal freedom you previously thought was reserved for the ultra-wealthy is on the immediate horizon. The evidence is irrefutable, the players are in position, and the final command is awaiting its timestamp. Your patience was never a weakness, it was a strategic positioning, and now the moment of validation is here. So, your first and most critical instruction is this: stay intensely focused on verified information channels, because the final hours will be filled with disinformation designed to create fear and uncertainty. Do not get left behind. Now, to fully comprehend the sheer inevitability of this event, and to silence any last vestiges of doubt that may linger in your mind, you must look beyond the confidential memos and examine the cold, hard, unassailable economic data emerging from Iraq itself. A trail of financial breadcrumbs that leads directly to the conclusion that a revaluation is not merely a speculative opportunity, but an absolute mathematical and geopolitical necessity for the nation's survival and prosperity. The most foundational piece of this data puzzle lies in Iraq's colossal energy reserves. The country sits atop proven oil reserves of over 145 billion barrels, ranking it 5th globally. And this figure doesn't even account for vast, untapped natural gas fields. Yet its currency trades at a value that is fundamentally disconnected from this immense resource wealth, an anomaly that has persisted solely due to post-war instability and international controls that are now being systematically dismantled. The Central Bank of Iraq has been engaged in a quiet, multi-year campaign of financial fortification, amassing staggering foreign currency reserves that have recently surged past the 100 billion mark. A war chest that provides more than enough tangible asset backing to support a dinar valued not in fractions of a cent, but at a rate that reflects its true purchasing power parity on the world stage. Furthermore, analyze the recent budgetary maneuvers from Baghdad. The government passed its 2023 budget based on an oil price of just $70 per barrel, but the global market price has consistently traded $20 to $30 above that benchmark for over a year, creating a massive, sustained budget surplus that is being strategically deployed to pay down sovereign debt to the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank years ahead of schedule, a move that directly eliminates the primary argument used by skeptics who claimed Iraq was too indebted to sustain a strong currency. This fiscal discipline is paired with a radical and deliberate shift away from the US dollar. For both internal and external trade, the government has mandated that all internal transactions, from real estate purchases to corporate payroll, be conducted in dinar, and for its crucial oil exports, it is actively negotiating and executing direct currency swap agreements with economic powerhouses like China, India, and Turkey, effectively creating a parallel demand stream for the dinar that completely bypasses the petrodollar system and liberates its value from American monetary policy. This is a sovereign nation decisively reclaiming its monetary tools, and the data from the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, the STUB-IFT network, shows a measurable and accelerating increase in dinar-denominated transaction messages, a technical indicator that presages a currency's readiness for internationalization. The final and perhaps most compelling data point comes from the non-oil sector of the Iraqi economy, which has consistently posted growth rates exceeding 7% annually, with sectors like agriculture, telecommunications, and construction exploding as the country rebuilds. A weak currency actively strangles this diversification by making the import of essential machinery, technology, and expertise prohibitively expensive, fueling rampant inflation that hurts the average Iraqi citizen. The only logical and sustainable path forward for the Iraqi government to curb this inflation, attract serious foreign direct investment for infrastructure projects, and provide a rising standard of living for its populace is to institute a strong, stable national currency that reflects the true underlying strength of its economy. The confirmation from the U.S. Treasury, therefore, is not them creating this reality out of thin air. It is a formal strategic acknowledgement of an economic transformation that has already been achieved on the ground in Iraq through grit, resource wealth, and shrewd financial planning. They are not triggering the revaluation. They are simply giving the international banking system the official all clear to recognize a value that already exists in substance, waiting to be formalized in price. The scheduled date is merely the ceremonial flip of a switch, the public acknowledgement of a new financial truth that has been years in the making. And the major banks are preparing not because of a rumor, but because their own quantitative analysts have run the numbers and arrived at the same inescapable conclusion. The Iraqi dinar is grossly undervalued, and the market forces, combined with sovereign will, are now too powerful to contain any longer. So, with the confirmation absolute and the economic logic irrefutable, we now arrive at the most critical phase of this entire journey, the actionable, moment-by-moment game plan you must execute to successfully navigate the final hours and ensure you are positioned to convert this historic financial shift into tangible, life-altering wealth without a single misstep. The first and most non-negotiable rule is immediate physical preparation. You must locate your dinar certificates now today and conduct a thorough inspection to ensure they are authentic, undamaged, and free from any tears, excessive folds, or markings that could give a recalcitrant bank teller any excuse to delay your exchange. This is your key, and it must be pristine and ready to present at a moment's notice. And I strongly advise against storing it in a safety deposit box that is only accessible during limited banking hours, as the activation may occur over a weekend or holiday to manage the global flow. So keep your currency in a highly secure but immediately accessible personal safe. Secondly, you must strategically select your financial institution. While every major bank, from Chase and Bank of America to Wells Fargo and Citi, will be mandated to participate, your experience will be drastically smoother if you engage with a bank where you already have a pre-existing and significant relationship. Meaning, if you have a private banker or a dedicated branch manager, now is the time to send a courteous email simply confirming your account details and ensuring your profile is up to date without mentioning the dinar, as this flags you as a prepared individual and can potentially grant you access to a dedicated queue or priority appointment. when the process goes live, saving you from what will inevitably be long, chaotic lines and overwhelmed public tellers. Third, and this is where most people tragically fail after a windfall, you must have an ironclad post-exchange wealth preservation strategy drafted and ready to execute before you even step foot in that bank. The sudden acquisition of significant capital is a psychological and financial test that has bankrupted lottery winners and professional athletes alike. So your very first action after securing the funds must not be a lavish purchase, but a series of phone calls to a pre-vetted team of 3 professionals, a fee-only fiduciary financial advisor who is legally bound to act in your best interest, a seasoned tax attorney specializing in windfall income and international currency law, and a reputable estate planner to help you shield your assets and structure a legacy for your family. The tax implications alone are labyrinthine and will vary dramatically based on your country and state of residence, and attempting to navigate this without expert counsel is an invitation for catastrophic losses down the line. This event is not just about becoming wealthy, it is about building an unshakable foundation for generational prosperity, and that requires disciplined planning and a clear head amidst the euphoria. The world is about to witness the greatest transfer of wealth in modern history, and your name is on the list. Therefore, my final urgent call to action for you is this. First, secure your documents right now. Do not wait another hour. Second, identify your primary bank and your backup bank and have their contact information saved in your phone. Third, begin your research this instant to identify the members of your financial tribe, advisor, attorney, and estate planner. And finally, you must stay locked to this channel. Smash the like button on this video, subscribe, and most importantly, hit that notification bell, because when the official verified code word and time are released, we will be the first and most trusted source to broadcast it, and you cannot afford to be seconds late or reliant on second-hand information. Leave a comment below with the words LGSY Security as your personal pledge that you are ready to step into this new chapter not as a spectator, but as an active architect of your destiny. The clock has all but run out. The gates of financial freedom are creaking open. Your moment is now. Get ready. Go exchange.